like that. Would you kind of agree with multi-account users as well, or are you thinking it's just more along the lines of fake buy?
It's more fake buys. I think people at risk are people with new accounts. Amazon seems to be more of a stickler with people that don't have an established account.
Right. So basically what your advice is, let's say we've got somebody that's new, brand new, they got a brand new product, and they're kind of, now they're afraid because they heard all this. What would you recommend, like, how would you sort of do things based on that information? They're brand new, they have a brand new account, a brand new product, but they want to do giveaways. How afraid or unafraid should they be, and how many would you imagine would be a decent amount to sort of test the waters out with?
Well, I wouldn't be afraid, first of all, as long as you're not doing the fake buys. As far as launch is concerned, and I've had some success in this with giving a smaller amount but spreading it out over a longer period of time. So depending on how many you want to give away, say 100, I'd give away 10 a day for 10 days. Because I think that kind of falls under the radar as well. And then if there's more that you need to give away, because it also gives you time to see what your results are, what results you're getting from that. Then maybe after 10 days, then increase it to 15, 20 a day, and do that for a few days.
Okay, good. And so what about you?
You've already primed the pump, so by then. Yeah, and I've talked to people who were doing fake buys, and they got a policy warning the next day. This was just last week.
Right, yeah, and so I guess for people out there that are new, one of the things that I've heard, and again, in a minute we'll get Susan's opinion on this, but one of the things that I know for a fact, and I've also heard from people that have gotten multiple accounts suspended from Amazon, is that Amazon always sends a policy warning when you're doing something wrong to sort of warn you, pretty much saying, hey, look, we know what you're doing, you better stop doing it, and if you don't stop doing it, then there's going to be certain things that happen, and obviously those certain things are they're going to shut your account down. But John just mentioned that he has a friend that got that policy warning, and so it just goes to show you that there's really no reason to be afraid, but at the same time, other people that are saying my account got shut down, I have no idea why. It was obviously for reasons that we don't actually know. They might not be telling the whole story, but almost in every instance, and that's in this one particular friend I have, 12 times that his account was shut down, he got a policy violation warning on every single one of those 12 accounts. So when you're doing something wrong, stop doing it or you're going to get shut down. And as a result of that, there's really no reason to be afraid to do something, especially when it's just doing giveaways. I mean, big companies like Tide always give their stuff away to test it out. But that's just sort of like my little rant about that. Now let's go ahead and get McDowell's opinion on the mayor of OMG. Let's get her opinion on what's going on what she thinks a new person should do.
You guys have got to stop that, Liz. I'm just going to say you and Ty have got to stop that mayor stuff. But anyway, no, and I will say that there are a couple of strategies that I'm really not comfortable sharing on a recorded webinar that I do talk about at the OMG Assimilation Tour events. So if anybody is interested in coming to New York and interested in chatting with me or coming to OMG Live, you'll definitely get more detailed information. Or China. Well, China, it'll be a lot more than, I mean, what I have to say will be a drop in the bucket because there are going to be so many geniuses there. But that, there are things that we can cover on these Q&A webinars, but they're recorded and they're publicly distributed. And then there are things we can't. So, make sure to get yourself to one of these live events. You won't regret it. No, I have done product launches over the past few weeks since the new terms of service for new sellers without a problem. I think Amazon put in the language very broadly to cover themselves so that therefore they can say excessive for whatever they want. And when they see somebody who they think is being abusive, they're going to come after them. But I think giving away free giveaways, which is what they recommend to do with Vine, there was the whole bunch of things about, oh my God, should I do it at $1.99 so they won't catch it, or should I do it at $1.97, or what's the right number? I mean, that's, I think, probably trying to manipulate it. But getting product samples into people's hands to evaluate them, making sure that you're not using a review service that sends out a note saying, if you can't give a 4 or 5 star review, we want to hear about it. We don't like using review services anyway because it puts someone in between you and your customer. You want to build your own list. I mean, John has, I think, an incredible list, and he does all his launches with his own list. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, I got a list of over 4,000. But I've also used some groups just because it's easier.
But you need to be very careful, you know, when you're doing that, because you don't. If somebody from a group sends out a note saying, you know, if you can't give a 4 or 5 star review, we want to know why, that could be viewed as a violation of terms of service and could get you in trouble. So you need to be very careful managing that. But John's strategy of dripping them out over a week or 2 weeks is a good one. A strategy that I used for my very first product was that I found a group of interested people. It was a farm stand because it was a vegetable product, and I went in there and posted and said, I really need help, and you know, you can get a code for this product. You know, at that point, I did, you know, for free if you would like to do this. And then I dripped those out, making sure I had at least 10 sales a day because I wanted to show I had at least 10 sales a day. And after a month, I was up. It was a very competitive keyword, and I was up on page 1 by doing a slow and steady drip. So I think that a slow and steady drip works as well, although I have had somebody with a new product who did over 100 and hasn't been slapped, and it worked, and they got ranked over the past couple of weeks. So I think a lot of it depends on your risk tolerance. You know, and a lot of it depends on, you know, how fast you want to move, how much inventory you have, because the key thing is after you figure out how many you're going to give away, you need to look at the results, and then if it's not enough, you need to give away more. If it's moved the way you want it, then you continue doing it. So it really depends on how much inventory you have and your risk tolerance. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about their strategy. I'm pretty sure Liz and John are available as well. You'll get lots of great information if you come to China.
All right, great.
So that's, I don't know if that's specific enough.
Oh,
But, things are working the same way they did 3 weeks ago.
Tremendous, Susan. We really, really appreciate that. I was actually just telling Liz last night that we wish we had a 100 Qzx909 inside of OMG. It's really wonderful having you in, and this is invaluable information. I want to talk to everybody about risk for a second here. This whole idea of risk and risk aversion. It's a huge mistake in internet marketing. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I see is people, just kind of not moving out of fear, and it's very understandable. Everyone feels it, and that's why it's one of the biggest illusions, and it really limits people. I know, for example, Liz built her first $1 million e-commerce site. She built with Google pay-per-clicks, and I know that people would just run around when Google pay-per-clicks were just a complete gold mine in the early 2000s. A lot of people made millions of dollars, but most people just sat on the sideline or just operated at such a small scale that they really never got ahead. And I really want to encourage you out there to try some of these techniques, try some of these methods. You're going to get a warning before your account gets shut down anyways. So, you're not redlining it until you get a warning. And this is also not something, it's not like you can't open a new Amazon account if you get, it's just like this. Like, even if you're one of the very, very, very few unlucky people who gets their account shut down, not account shut down, like if you were to just stumble into a very unlucky situation with your OMG SEO with ranking a website, that doesn't mean you're out of Google. You just stick up another website. It's just plain as day. Well, in the same way, Amazon can't kick you out of Amazon. They can limit or take out an account, but they can't take you out of Amazon. You just start another Amazon account. It's irrelevant. It's not completely irrelevant, but it just, like, if that's the worst thing that's going to happen, because I'll tell you what the worst thing that's going to happen if you don't go for it is you're not going to make money. That's not just the worst thing that's going to happen. It's the only thing that's going to happen is you're not going to make money. Now, if you take a risk, you're either going to make money or you're going to get slapped. But I'll tell you this, you're very unlikely to get slapped, and you're at this point, as near as we can tell, 100% likely to at least be warned before you're slapped. So, I mean, really, the money goes to the brave when it comes to this sort of thing. Okay, now this is actually, this goes straight to our point. This is Mike Bevington asked this question. The man I call the Bebster. Pull this up. Actually met him at the very first OMG Live. I've heard Liz say that she has opened several accounts on Amazon. Does she use different bank accounts and addresses for this? Yeah, you have to. You're gonna have to set, like, if you're gonna set up multiple accounts, you will have to set up separate entities for it. Okay, so let's see. All right, we wound up having a few questions about the China Mastermind that I wasn't able to answer. This is from Greg. Greg says, is there going to be another opportunity in the future to join the Mastermind? At this time, there is nothing scheduled for the future. So if you want to get in, and it's, again, if you're at all on the fence, just get in there. That's the thing to do. We wound up with another China Mastermind question right here. By the way, the China Mastermind address is right here, omgmachines.com/Liz-John-mastermind.php. I also put up those two FBA Amazon integration listings, Joe Lister for the US and Auto MCF for the UK. This one provided by Ty, this one provided by Susan. Okay, so getting back to focusing on the Mastermind, John wants to know, please talk about the logistics of the China trip, i.e. hotel, flight, and arrangements. John, what's going to happen with that is Liz and John will tell you, where they recommend that you stay, and when they recommend that you fly. You're financially responsible for that, and then of course for your ticket, and then you feed yourself, and they pretty much take care of the rest, of things. John, did you have anything to add to that?
No, you got it covered.
Okay, great.
We have a hotel picked out, and what we did is we found the nicest, most cost-effective hotel, very conscious of people's funds. Liz has stayed there before and was really, really happy with it. They serve free breakfast. They got a nice lounge, so it's the perfect hotel.
Yeah, I stayed at this same hotel. It's got a really nice, exactly what John said. It's actually even got a really nice. It's kind of unusual in China to have this, but they actually have this really nice little lounge, like John was just saying, and it's just a great place to debrief and hang out, and just really, really a lot of fun. So that's going to work really well. Beth had a question on the price. So Beth, I answered you. And guys, of course, as always, questions about this stuff, or omg@omgmachines.com. That's my personal email address, and I do check it, and I do respond. Chuck says, let me pull up Chuck's question here. Chuck says, I think I blew it. I bought a product that's already selling on Amazon, but it wouldn't show up when I scanned. So I created my own listing, and of course oh shoot, Chuck, I lost the second half of your question. So I unfortunately, hopefully I'll get the rest of that question, and we'll get in from there. All right, this is from Mikhail. What do you think about handmade or artisan craft type stuff? Thanks, Mikhail. Of course, if it's handmade or artisan, the big question is going to be scaling. It can certainly sell, but the question is going to be, well, what about your supply? So you really have to look at the supply of it and say, hey, if I really start ramping up, is this going to be able, to kind of continue? Let's see. Okay, Neil, great. All right. Let's see. Okay, Mike Andrews says, would love to go to Simulation New York. When are details available? They're still choosing a location, Mike. And, of course, we'll just tell you when it comes up. Just, if you stay on top of your OMG dispatches and in the Facebook group, you'll be just fine with figuring that stuff out. Let's see. Okay, this is a great question from this week. Great, actually, really great question. How long Well, how will Network Crusader help with your Amazon listings? Mikhail, what you're going to do with Network Crusader is use it to rank your Amazon listings in Google. So it's very helpful. Without getting into the weeds of it, Susan and McDowell provided just an incredible review for it. It's sitting right there in your membership group, and I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. All right, Gaynor had some. Gaynor had a really great comment here. I totally agree with this. Gaynor says, John Gill is a natural at absorbing information and implementing quickly and being creative with his own methods. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Thanks, Gaynor.
Okay. Let's see. Lots of nice comments today, by the way. This is really great. I just kind of have to dig through a lot of comments to get to the questions. Some people laughed at my office porn thing. I thought that was kind of funny myself. Yeah, and a lot of people. Okay, Elena wants to know this. Hey, Elena. Okay, guys, what a fake buy is when it's exactly what it says. It's like you're buying your own products, but you're not actually buying it. And it's against Amazon's terms of service. They obviously frown on it. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm not even commenting on the ethics of it because I don't think it's unethical. Some people might argue with that, and they may be able to show me how it is, and I would be open to listening to that. I currently don't do it myself, but I honestly, I don't see myself having a problem with doing it. I just don't happen to do it. So it's just another method for promoting on Amazon. It's one where you're particularly gaming Amazon. So from that standpoint, it's something that they're concerned about. But I don't have a step-by-step method for you. John, did you want to comment on that anymore?
No, not really. I mean, I think I covered it. I think just it's right now until the dust settles. It seems a little risky.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, somebody's asking.
I've got a comment on that, Mike.
Sure.
I used fake buys to start myself off. I just had a group of friends, all in different locations, that I knew I wasn't going to be logging on from their computers or from their house. And before I went FBA, I had about 10 of them buy the product, and I didn't ship it to them, and they left reviews.
All right.
So I did fake it just to get that first few, just to get that trust level that people would then purchase from me.
Sure.
I then obviously went FBA and stopped that process, and since then I've been using, just to answer another question that's on there and kind of link it in with that, using an automated service for emailing every customer. I don't do the specific as one of the questions here say, if it's not going to be a 4 to 5 star review, then please call me first. I don't state the 4 to 5 stars. I just say, before leaving, a negative review, please contact us first so that we can resolve your issue. And off the back of that, I've just, I'm just flying along with the reviews using an automated service, but I don't know what anyone else uses.
Great, that's great. That's great information, and we like getting these data points. Is something happening with Liz? It's almost better for me to work this out. Is John disconnected somehow, or do you know what's going on?
I'm here.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and you're still like on as an organizer where you can see the questions and so forth.
No, I can't see the questions.
You cannot see the questions. Okay, that I weirdly don't know how to deal with that. Liz, are you back? I think Liz isn't necessarily back. Maybe she's asking me that I make her an organizer. I see what she's saying. There she is. Okay, I see. So I have to make Liz an organizer. John, the question should be, it depends on whether you're on a Mac or PC, but somewhere on your kind of GoToWebinar control panel, there should be a tab for you to be able to see the questions. And of course, you're constantly getting nice compliments and stuff like that in there. So if you want to lap up some of that appreciation, certainly find the question box. You'll see great stuff in there. Gaynor says, do you process these free giveaways through FBM or use free coupons via FBA? Typically, you do FBA. Okay. Sherry says, let's see here. This is a big question here. May kind of regret putting this up, but we'll see what happens. Wait, cancel. All right, here we go. So Sherry says, is using a service like Seller Labs and sending emails to request reviews okay? I have an email that goes out to my customers requesting reviews. It states, if for any reason you don't think we're a 4 or 5-star experience, please email us first. Is that crossing the terms of service line? Probably is crossing the terms of service line. I like how David handles it. It's probably a little bit more elegant.
Yeah, it's just I'll chime in. It definitely, you should say nothing about that, particularly with the latest terms of service change. They want you to ask for an unbiased review, so you can ask for an unbiased review. You can tell them you're happy to resolve any issues they have, but I would be very careful, and that's why using services like Seller Labs and things where they send out these canned emails can be a problem.
Okay, great. All right. Brenda is joining us for the China Mastermind. We're really excited. She says, can we request a roommate from any of the other OMGers of the China trip? Is it a Facebook group that you guys are starting for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just told her to put a post on there, so
Perfect.
she'll probably get the taker.
Perfect. Yeah, there was a lot of rooming. Almost everybody. I think I was the only one who was in my own room in China, actually, which led to a lot of crazy situations. All right. So Jay says, yeah, there are some unicorn sightings. Okay, my FBA fee for Amazon UK is 40% of the item sales price. Is that about right? This is from Jay. I don't know. I mean, your FBA fee is whatever your FBA fee is, Jay. I'm not exactly sure what it is for the UK. Let's see. Okay, great. Oh, wow. Very few questions today. I guess we were like maybe like a little bit proactive, or maybe my dulcet voice was like particularly soothing, and I put a few of our normal question askers to sleep. I don't know what's going on here. We normally have more questions than this.
Mike, do you mind if I pick up on that kind of automated message side of things a little bit?
Please do. Please do.
Right. What I was going to do is actually just read out the message that I send out.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so it's what this tool, I use a tool called Feedback 5, and you get complete control over the message that gets sent out. So you can set the heading, and the key thing I find about having it automated is obviously if your sales get high, you need something on an automation level, ideally, to be able to do that. But the way I look at it is giving people an easy option to give feedback with direct links to either seller feedback or product feedback. Not having that, I find Amazon really, really tricky. Most people I speak to don't even know how to leave feedback. They just don't naturally know where to find it. So anyway, this is why I put out the heading is your honest feedback is important to us, and then it relates to your Amazon order. Thank you so much for your Amazon order last week. We're a family-run business, and our customers are very important to us. We are contacting you to ensure that you're completely happy with your purchase and the service you received from Amazon and us. Here are the details for your Amazon order. And then there's a little bit in blue that says leave product review. Our goal is for you to be 100% happy with the product you bought. If for any reason this is not the case, we would appreciate if you would give us a chance to address your concerns before leaving negative feedback by replying directly to this email. I don't know whether that is against terms of service. I don't know what John and Liz think.
No, it sounds pretty strong. I would be okay with that one.
All right, great.
The key bit is that you're providing them that link, and I've just found it so powerful. I've just flown away with the reviews because most people don't know how to give reviews.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about that, I don't want to put the thought of putting a negative review in there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let me tell you how I would do it. Actually, I would say something like this. I would bake something like this in. We're extremely proud of our 5-star overall Amazon product review rankings because we care so much about your feedback, and also because we're standing by to help with even the smallest seeming issue to ensure you have just a wonderful experience with us, and because we hope you come back again and again. I'd try to bake something like that in, the implication of what I'm saying, because I don't want to bring up negative reviews. So what I want to do, this is a little psychological for everybody. This is a good little conversion lesson. This is pretty universal. What I'm doing is something that we call anchoring. So for example, before I make any sort of a price offer, I always want to put a much bigger number in people's minds first. So if I was selling a $10 or let's say a $25 cell phone case, what I would say is something like, your cell phone is extremely valuable to you. If you have to repurchase it because of damage, it's going to cost you $1,000 or more in many cases, and that that's a lot of money. Our cell phone case is excellent. It's really, really high quality. It's economical, and it's only $25, right? So what happens with anchoring is they compare the $1,000 to the $25, and boom, it makes the $25 seem cheap. And I'll tell you something psychologically, just so you can experience it for yourself. I'll put that to you in a different way. That's basically the wrong way. I'm selling this cell phone case, and I've seen lots of cell phone cases out there for $3 and $5 a piece, and a lot of them are junk. Mine's $25, and it's well worth it. Okay. Well, the problem is now $25. Like, give me the number one in the question box. If the second time the 25, you almost felt like 25 sounded like a bigger number, because I said I've seen other cell phone cases for $3 and $5, and even though I said this one's better, it still puts you on the wrong track. Well, in the same way, when you put this 5-star review idea in their mind, then like, they don't have to do any more work. Like, they just go and they think, well, these guys get 5-star rankings, and so they give 5-star rankings. I mean, that's like psychologically going to be. And of course, I still insulated you about the idea of, like, talk to us directly and not Amazon. I would put in there and say, talk to us directly, not Amazon, because we're the product vendor and we're the one that's here to care. Does that make sense?
That's a really good point, Mike, because I've come across people that have left a not so positive review. Luckily, a lot of the time they've left the review in the wrong place, so it goes against the review terms of service, so it gets scrubbed out.
Yeah, just like Jack Harvell showed. Yeah, exactly.
But the important thing is, when they go to Amazon, Amazon's default is refund. So even if they've had a problem with the product or it hasn't arrived, they just go immediately kind of refund. They don't seem to resolve the issues. That's my experience. Mm-hmm. So that person is left without the product they wanted, an unhappy child or an unhappy whoever, because they haven't received the product, and therefore they might leave a negative review.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's really important, and that's why you're the marketing genius, Mike.
I don't know about that.
And Mike, I would say there's nothing in what you said there that would be against terms of service. What you're doing is you're planting the 5-star review in their mind. You're not saying, if you can't leave a 5-star review, contact us. That's terrific. So I think that is great terminology, and will produce all kinds of wonderful results, including better reviews from people that were going to leave good reviews anyway.
Yeah, and you have to test it. And by the way, one of the things that you can even point out is, if you wanted to get a little bit deeper into it, you can kind of stick something in here to say you might enjoy reading some of the wonderful reviews we've had from our members, because it'll also give you some great insights into how people are using and benefiting from our product that you might not have even thought of. And the reason I would say that is because I want them to read the other reviews. Why? Because we're going to have something in there, like they'll go in there and they're going to see Mandy Payne's review, number one, and she's going to have this beautifully written or beautifully recorded video. And once again, it's going to give people the same idea. It's going to anchor a template in their mind of the kind of review that they can give. Otherwise, they're just going to go in there and say, 5-star, great product, great seller, thanks, which is pretty much what you get on eBay and so forth. So that's just a little bit of an extra detail there. Liz, are you there? Did I properly make you an organizer?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm an organizer.
Okay, great. All right. This here is from Uday. Got to meet Uday just the last couple weeks at Assimilation Live. Uday says, "Hey, Mike, John, Liz, looking forward to China." That's because Uday is joining the China Mastermind. Just thought since I got on here a little bit late, can we offer promotions for leaving reviews, such as a certain amount of future purchases, etc., or will this be against the terms of service? I'm wondering because I wouldn't be asking specifically for positive or negative reviews. Again, this might have been addressed before. I'm just getting caught up to speed. Yeah, you can't really offer any sort of a bribe for reviews, which in that case it would amount to a bribe, even though it's pretty reasonable. They're still, you have to understand that Amazon's bread and butter is the perceived authenticity of their reviews. Actually, weirdly enough, that's the same thing as Google. It's one of the core reasons that makes OMG possible as it is. Because getting free traffic from Amazon and Google is virtually the same because it's all reliant on this authenticity principle that Google and Amazon are working on. You'll hear Greg Morrison talk about this a lot. He'll refer to it as, does it look natural? Give me the number one if you can remember at least one time Greg Morrison hammering it in your head. Does this look natural? Does this look natural? Does it look, yeah, obviously, like a lot of people seeing that. Well, Liz, it's the same kind of thing. Like you could be running the fakest, craziest Amazon business with fake buys and all kinds of crazy black hat stuff and be completely fine so long as your business appears natural to Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like what Uday's saying is, I'm not sure, I would not do that, Uday. And again, it's one of those things where I talk about, usually they'll warn you. So even if you were to do it and they warn you, then you got to stop and do it immediately. But if you offer them like several promotions, like I remember one of the techniques a lot of people used to use back in the day is they would offer people, if you leave a review, we'll send you a second product for free. That was actually something that was really popular. And a lot of people got caught, a lot of people didn't. But what I mean by got caught is they got a slap on the wrist. And as long as Amazon saw that they weren't continuing to do it, then they'd be fine. So it's something that you have to sort of decide, like, you can probably run it and get away with it, but do you really want to do that? And if you do want to do that, do you have a backup plan in case you do decide to do that and then you get caught? Because they're no longer, once you get banned from Amazon, you're not going to be able to do, they're going to like track your IP, they're going to be on you, and you won't be able to open up a new account unless it's completely separate and new information. That's why you sort of always have to have a backup plan for something, no matter what we're talking about. Like even people when they have like jobs, like back in the day when I played poker, I had a backup plan. And what wound up happening is I was estimating that I had another 6 months of playing poker before the DOJ or somebody was going to come down on it. And what happened is it got me out of the actual game 6 months earlier. So although I wasn't 100% prepared, I was somewhat already preparing to get out of it. So again, having a backup plan no matter what you're doing is like one of the best things to actually do.
Yeah, the measure is going to be, and again, this is what Liz is saying is exactly accurate. This goes straight back to your law of implication strategy from David Mills as well. The real question is something going to take me out? That's the first question. And if something is going to take you out, then you really don't want to do it. Now, what we're explaining here is there's simply a warning system in place. And so if you want to do something that carries some risk with it, then I would say almost every successful Amazon vendor that I know of has, at least in theory, broken Amazon's terms of service a number of times. That's understandable. That's not a problem. Again, Amazon's terms of service are not moral law, right? It is not amoral. It is not like the root of morality. Again, this is from law of implication, is respect for people's personal property. That's what morality is. Breaking Amazon's terms of service is not doing anything. They have a terms of service. You either follow it or you don't. The end. Now that said, if you're going to do something like that, I had a YouTube channel, for example, that was very important to my business at one point, and I had a really nasty competitor who went in and got me banned. And one day I just looked and I was like, wow. I mean, I had a YouTube video channel with like 4 million video views on it that had produced $1 million in sales for me, just get banned overnight. But you know what? It didn't get banned overnight. What was happening was I wasn't checking the email account that was tied to that YouTube account, and it got several complaints over the course of a couple of weeks. I didn't respond to any of them. So, YouTube said, okay, this guy's getting all these complaints. He's not responding to what we're saying. This probably is, a bad guy, and we're gonna suspend his account. And you know what? Once I saw the account suspended, thank goodness, we were able to go in, and David Mills figured this out, and we were able to fight to fight things, and we ultimately came out triumphant. But my point is just exactly what Liz is saying. You have to build in a backup plan and say, well, because if your plan is going to be, I'm just going to really, really blatantly violate Amazon's terms of service, then have a plan B at least sketched out in your head where you can change things over and move things around. And like Liz said, there is definitely a cost to having your actual account banned, because at that point you're pretty much going to have to use HMA or some sort of IP cloaker to whenever you're dealing with your various Amazon accounts, and you're going to just have to proceed with a certain amount of caution where there's not a particularly easy to find link between the banned account and the new account. You have to kind of keep that in mind, and that's generally going to be your strategy. And again, it's going to really boil down to what Amazon perceives as natural. And that's that. I think we're right about done. We've gone through all of our questions, and oh, that's really funny. Gaynor said something really funny about John. Anyways, whatever, I won't say it. But it was, of course, all in good fun. Okay, we have I believe we've just had an overwhelmingly wonderful event. It's been really, really cool. Please take the time in your question box to thank John, to thank Liz, to thank David Fripp for coming on here. We also had Ty jump on, and Susan McDowell. Once again, a literally incredible event that we've had. I do have to point this out to you guys because it's important timing, guys and gals. We are at the 11th hour when it comes to this China Mastermind thing. That's where we're at. There's a natural degree of scarcity built into this because it's just about to happen. We're really only weeks away from where people will be, excitedly packing their bags and boarding airplanes and probably taking some of the same flights together and arriving in Guangzhou and getting to the hotel and just getting to meet John and Liz in person, finally get to shake their hands and have dinner together and start talking things over and just to get ready for those sessions. It's going to be very exciting. Two big classroom day sessions that you're going to have with John and Liz. That it's going to be about product getting. It's going to be about promotion. It's going to really set the stage for you to thrive. Some of the smartest people in the world are going to be in the room with you when it comes to Amazon. Several 6-figure per month and even 7-figure per month sellers are going to be there. In addition, of course, to John and Liz, it's going to be an incredible mastermind. When those 2 days wrap up, when your brain is just stuffed full of genius stuff that you've never heard of, and you've met all these people, you have an all new Rolodex, you're still not done because John and Liz are going to take you in the field personally, and you're going to be hitting the floor of the Canton Fair. It's an amazing experience. Your eyes are going to light up. You're going to be sending snapshots and pictures back home to family members and friends. But really the best part is, I know what you're going to have really fixed in your mind is that you're going to be thinking about, look, I'm looking to take my Amazon business 6-figure per month or even 7-figure per month level, or who knows, I'm going to blow this up. And that's an exciting feeling to be having. It's an exciting commitment to make. I did it myself. This is not theory. It's reality for me. I mean, it's actually very vivid for me. In fact, I was pretty much walking you through my own experience as I was speaking to you just now. and the emotion is real, and it's an exciting thing. It's transformational. It's transformational. It's an incredible experience. You suddenly bring to the table. I mean, one of the things that David Fripp was able to do was to negotiate a particular deal, with an agent where he's able to line up a lot of stuff because he had leverage walking the door, because he was able to say, hey, I can do this, right? Well, you want to talk about leverage, the skills and the expertise, the real world experience, and the Rolodex that you're going to gain from going to this event is, when it comes to Amazon, this is the offer. This event should, by all rights, cost $25,000. I actually pushed and pushed and pushed John and Liz to offer to $25,000 because I felt like that was the fair. Well, I think a fair price would be $100,000, but I thought generous would be 25 grand. What they've been able to do for you, pricing wise, I almost categorize as outrageous. But that said, they're willing to do it and probably working twice as hard because of it. And so it's a really, really exciting experience to be able to jump in. But this is the 11th hour. It's very, very likely. It's very possible that by today's Monday, that by Tuesday the opportunity will be closed. So if you're on the fence, take action. You can reach me at omg@omgmachines.com to talk about it. Of course, you can also reach out to Liz and John. So I want to give everybody the final word, and we will get out of here. Let's start with the man of the hour, David Fripp. Do you have a final word or tips or anything that you want people to know?
Well, just the final word, because I know from sitting here, when you hear a lot of coaches or talented people like Liz and John that are making huge amounts out there, sometimes it's a bit like, well, how does that kind of relate to me, because it seems so far away. The key thing that Liz and John talk about and you talk about is just taking action. And the people that have contacted me since I started having success on Amazon, I would say at least 50% of them don't even have an Amazon account. So they're going, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about doing Amazon, and I ask the question, do you have an Amazon account, Amazon seller account? And at least 50% of them say no. So just get that Amazon account up there. It's what Cotton said. He on a simulation webinar a couple of months ago, quite a few months ago, he just tasked everyone with getting that seller account up and running. Just sell something, start getting the experience, start listing, and you never know what might happen. You might stumble across the most amazing product or meet the most amazing person. Now, if you don't have that Amazon account set up, you're missing the boat. You're not on board. You're not learning. You're not taking action. And I did that, and this was the result 3 months later.
You're so incredibly right, David. You're so incredibly right. And it's not just to add to what you're saying. And to really augment it, it's not just taking action inside of any framework. You see, what David Fripp did that's incredible is he found the right framework, which is OMG, in this case, OMG Amazon. And then he went for it. Then he went, completely, pedal to the metal. He slammed his pedal, his Lamborghini engine of his mind, he just slammed that sucker to the floor and just launched off, because you're in the right place. When you're in the right place, you really can slam your pedal to the metal. Now, there's lots of other people. We talked about a totally different method that we absolutely don't recommend of Amazon, where you would just kind of somewhat at random pick a very high bestseller ranking product, and then maybe go to Alibaba and just relatively randomly source it. And then maybe run a couple press releases or give some away to friends and family, and then just wait for your millionaire checks to come in. And if you slam your pedal to the metal with that, and look, if anybody is in that position, I am not mocking you. I've made definitely those kinds of mistakes myself again and again. I really feel you. But then at that point, it's like buying a lottery ticket, or like playing a game of Frogger, where you're where 1,000 frogs try to jump to the other side of the road, and 999 of them get splattered, And the one frog that got to the end, he's getting interviewed. I guess you can't really interview a frog, but you know what I mean. They're interviewing the frog, and he's like, "Oh, I just took massive action," But 999 other frogs got splattered. So, massive action when you're doing something, that's financially risky or even financially suicidal. Well, that's not good. But what David did was he is in the right place, which of course everybody here is on that same track. This is what I'm really trying to reinforce. Like what David is saying is you can take massive action inside of OMG. You can go and slam your pedal to the metal, just slam it all the way down and just go into launch control and just rip it out there. And we really, really, really want you to do that. So I appreciate you saying that.
And just one final comment on that is you can do it low risk. You don't have to go out there and buy $10,000 worth of product. You could actually go to a company that you spot on Amazon that has got a rubbish listing, a great product, and do Jack Harvell style, consulting with them. And you go to them as a potential client, and then they take all the risk. They give you the product to give away on a brute force launch. They have a current list. They've got a current list of people that they've sold to before. That's the ideal scenario for launching that product. So they in effect take all the risk, and you come in and take a percentage and do the work on that side. So they can take all the risk for you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Now, I want to point out that David already had some experience on Amazon, so it wasn't quite. The one thing I would say is before you approach another vendor or somebody on Amazon, Jack Harvell style, I think it's an incredible way of doing it. At least do a little bit of arbitrage, just a little bit, to where you put up at least one bundle and see it sell a few copies, even if it's only you making $100 on Amazon. That's perfectly fine. Because I'll tell you, like once you've crossed that, let's say $100 level, and there's nothing magical about that. Could be $75, could be $200. Doesn't make a difference to me. But once you have some significant amount of sales, it puts you in a completely different zip code. Gives you incredible confidence, and it's real confidence. It's competence. And so that's absolutely a wonderful, wonderful point. And again, several times I know Jack Harvell's ears are ringing because we're all talking about him and talking him up. He's a great guy, and we really, really appreciate the incredible training he's put inside of OMG. Again, pay it forward kind of stuff. David, thank you so much. I know that people are just really cheering you and just so grateful for you being here today. I know I am.
Thank you.
All right, great. John, any last words?
Again, I think we kind of covered it all. I don't want to repeat myself. For anyone who's interested in taking their business to the next level, this will definitely be an event you want to be at. It's going to be great content. It's going to be hardcore content, and again, like I shared, stuff that we use to grow our business. And more importantly, there's just going to be some amazing people there as our special guests. That these are people you definitely going to want to know, people that you're going to want to hang out with, and build a relationship with, and that itself can be a game changer in your business, in your life. So I highly recommend it.
That's awesome. All right. Again, I absolutely agree with what John's saying, and my utter endorsement on the mastermind. And again, it's so important to me that even if you want to email me or even personally talk to me on the phone, I'd be willing to do that. Liz, let's close things out. Exciting day. We got to meet with David for the first time. Have him live on the webinar. This huge triumph. We're in the last hours of things with this Amazon incredible mastermind that what I'm calling the 6-figure a month Amazon mastermind. I think I'll probably be wrong. I think it'll go down in history as a 7-figure per month China mastermind. But just an exciting day, and of course we covered lots of people's questions and great tips and inspiration. Update on the whole giveaway situation. What are your final words to close out this wonderful event?
It's really fascinating the way that people can take this business and put their own twists on it, just exactly like David Fripp did. He's basically doing something on eBay, which again, you and I have a long history with, but he's basically used that and is dominating at eBay. So it still shows that there's models available like eBay that still make money. So people that are saying like, oh, eBay doesn't make any money, I mean, obviously aren't doing it right because David just showed you can still do it on eBay. So it's really fascinating how many different ways you can take the e-commerce model. And so that's the first thing that I want to mention. The second thing that I want to mention is just going back to the whole, like Susan M. McDowell mentioned that there's a lot of things that cannot be said on a recorded webinar about just tricks and tactics that can be used within Amazon to manipulate the search rankings. And things like that are things that just cannot be said on recorded webinars because we don't want to have like evidence of those working. But when it comes to a mastermind, it's all things are fair. So pretty much it's not recorded, it's not put out there for other people to see. And when it comes to a mastermind of real people that are actually making real money, not just gurus that are trying to teach these things, all things fair. So you never know what will come out of it. Of course, since it's our first mastermind, we do plan to drop some bombs. So again, it probably will never be repeated. And I just wanted to mention that to everybody. When it comes to mastermind, it's a whole different story. So that's the last word that I have to say.
Yeah, it really is. I want to pile on what Liz has said in a couple of ways, because I had this experience with OMG Live Nashville. Now, your OMG training here, whether you joined us through Project Breakthrough, Project J, Project X, or the No Holds Barred program from 2012 and 2013. By the way, I kind of want to point out here for a second that we've got people, and I recognize some names in the audience, who did join us all the way back in 2012, and they're getting this hardcore coaching with Liz and John, where they're able to get their questions answered today. So we're very, very proud of that and proud of that track record. We are a no holds barred company, and whatever things our player coaches have at their disposal that are scalable, right? They're scalable and duplicatable. Then we're getting that to you. The powerful stuff that works, we're getting all of it to you, and it's very important to us. We're very vigilant about this. There are instances where we cannot share things on webinars and so forth. And this is something that we run into with OMG Live Nashville. There's two things that will come up, actually three in the case of the China Mastermind. So the first thing is simply if something just absolutely does not scale to the point where we can share it with hundreds of people. There are a limited number of things that literally only a handful, where only maybe a dozen or two people can have that information, truly. And it's just one of those things. It's rare, but it comes up, okay? And those kinds of things, everything you're learning in OMG is completely duplicatable. But for example, if we had a certain kind of software at our disposal that, that generated free traffic or whatever, but that really only a few people could use, we wouldn't even tell you about it because it would just be a distraction. Okay, so we talk about stuff inside of OMG that is scalable and replicatable. There are going to be some tips and tricks of this event that are at that level where they can only be used by just a very small number of people, and it just is what it is, and it's not the way we want things to be. And with things like that, by the way, we're always testing, tuning, tweaking, looking for different angles where we can scale it up and share it with everybody. It's very important to us. That's number one. Number two, and this is the most common thing, and this is exactly what we run into with OMG Live Nashville, is exactly what we run into with it, is, look, me and Liz and John are partnering right and left with different individuals, mostly inside of OMG on different projects. And on all of those projects, we're running all kinds of different split tests and this and that. Well, here's the bottom line. If I'm, working on a project with Dima, which I am right now, and he tells me something, and we use it on that listing, and we have success with it, that's his information, not mine. I cannot, by any ethical standard, that would be, abuse of personal property. If I was to take his secret that he gave to me and that we worked into things with our business, or if we generated that idea together, that doesn't become the property of OMG. We cannot do that. It would not be ethical. It would be extremely unethical. We would not do that. However, there are certain limited cases, and this is essentially the whole existence of OMG Live is based on this, and certainly an important part of the China Mastermind is based on this, is where we can get those partners to come and show up and give us their blessing to share it in a more limited setting. So a lot of the opportunity at this China Mastermind is getting these lessons that are the proprietary information of these individuals that Liz and John have recruited and twisted their arm and called in favors, not just to get them to come to China, but also to give them their blessing to share information that is otherwise completely proprietary. Now, there's a third factor in play in this China Mastermind. And if you think you've made up your mind on the China Mastermind, I want you to stop and consider this before you make your decision, because we're talking 7-figure per month business. I mean, this is the ultimate goal here, at least 6-figure per month. The other factor in play with China, and I learned this, and I didn't learn it until my boots were on the ground in China with Liz, the last factor is there are things in China that you can only do in China, because you're going to have real life product in your hand that is cutting edge, that does not exist yet in the major markets, that is not, just like John has pointed out again and again, that is not on Alibaba, that is not in the stores, that's not even on Amazon. And some of them will be literally new inventions. Nowadays, I just saw they made like a Millennium Falcon drone. Well, this year there was really interesting drones at the Canton Fair. The year before that, they were more basic, but they were brand new. I mean, new things come out; they just do. And so when you've got this new, piping hot, fresh, brand new, hot off the grill information, and you've got this product in your hand, and you're thinking about buying it, you're thinking about, hey, what is my launch strategy going to be? Liz, I'm thinking about launching this blue widget. And blue widget's something I'm just making up here for a second. But Liz, I want to launch this blue widget. How do I interface that with the training I've already gotten from you inside of OMG and from this trip as well? That's that integration, and that's when I say we cannot put the continent of China inside of your members area, or not continent of Asia. We can't put the country of China inside of your members area, as much as I would love to do that. So there is that factor, and it's a very real factor. And the thing is, once you've blended all of these three factors together, plus you're pressing flesh with John and Liz and all these other extremely successful people, I mean, you have got this just incredible recipe for money getting, for money getting. And I think it's very important to recognize that. If you think, hey, Mike, why are you pushing this so hard? Because millionaires will be made. I really care about that. This is an OMG exclusive. The people that are coming are already informed. Does this work for a beginner OMGer? Yes, a beginner OMGer can come to this event, no problem. That's not an issue. We would have told you that. And we made this exclusive. A couple people were able to slide in from outside of OMG just because of outside connections to John from before and stuff like that existing. But like, it's only a couple. Almost everyone going on this trip is, they're people, other OMGers, you're side by side, shoulder to shoulder with. This is an extraordinary event. It is a life-changing event. This gets 5 stars from me. Okay. I get my absolute stamp of approval. I celebrate for every single person that's going on this trip, taking this journey with Liz and John. It's a transformative journey. It's something that's going to be incredible. 6-figure per month incomes and 7-figure per month incomes will be made. Fortunes will be made. I'm so excited for everybody who's going to attend that event. So that's my last word on the China Mastermind. This is very likely the last time we'll ever discuss it, because, like I said, John and Liz are highly likely to never do this again. But jump in on it now. It's an incredible time. If you're on the fence, absolutely go for it. All right, I want to thank everybody for jumping on this event. Also, special thank you once again to Ty and to Susan for also volunteering to come on in this event. Once again, congratulations to David Fripp. Really, really excited for you. And again, of course, thank you to our incredible player coaches, all of them. And just so glad to be here. It's such a privilege to be involved with everybody. God bless you all and have a great night.